Hey, this is Dr. Peters. I'm not sure how many more nice days I'm going to get for bus rides, so I thought I'd take this opportunity to cruise around and tell a little story. So for the past 9 months, I've been honored to serve as the volunteer state coordinator for Better Angels in Iowa. And during the course of that, we've seen it grow tremendously. I think that's due in part to the fact that Iowans are pretty attuned to our politics, given our first in the nation caucus status, and Iowa Nice is actually a thing. So we like talking about our politics, but we also appreciate people being cordial to one another. Over the course of the last 9 months, I've given dozens of presentations on Better Angels throughout the state, and at most of those events I ask the audience how many have lost a friendship or had a strained family relationship over the course of the last few years, and invariably about half, or sometimes even more than half, of those in attendance will raise their hand. And I think that's a huge problem. This is something we are feeling quite acutely, and given the fact that it is less than 2.5 months until the Iowa caucus, at which point the Democratic voters will begin the process of determining the Democratic presidential candidate, and we are just under a year from the next general election, at which point one of two outcomes is most likely. Either a new president will be elected or Donald Trump will be reelected. And I think everyone can agree that regardless of that outcome, that's not going to change this polarization and anger a lot of people feel. That's something we got to do ourselves. And that's what Better Angels is all about. We're not about getting everybody to change their mind and change their positions. We're not expecting that conservatives are going to embrace Medicare for all, or that progressives are going to suddenly find a great and deep abiding love for the Second Amendment. But it is to realize that problems like providing health care and gun violence are issues that everybody cares about. It's just a matter of finding solutions, and those solutions generally going to be found not at the extremes, which is where our politics has gotten us at this point, but somewhere in the middle. If you go back to 1994, the parties were separated, of course. Why would you have two parties if there wasn't some differences? But they weren't too terribly far apart. Fast forward 20 years later to 2014, and you can see that the two parties have both diverged significantly to the extremes, and the center has been hollowed out. There's very little overlap between the two parties. And if we look at self-affiliation, that is by people, whether they've recognized themselves to be conservative or Republican or Democrat or liberal, or unaffiliated or independent, what we see over the past, well, back since 1988, is that the popularity of the two parties has continued a linear downward trend, and at the same time, the unaffiliated voters have risen commensurately. That is the hollowed out center. Those are the people who do not see their values or principles reflected in either two party. And again, bringing not only those two sides together in discussion, the reds and blues as we call them in Better Angels, but also that large block of people in the middle, the purples, we sometimes like to refer to them as, bring them in as part of the conversation is really important. If you want to learn more about Better Angels here in Iowa, the easiest way to do that is through our new website, which is Better Angels Iowa, all run together, betterangelsiowa.org. There you can find upcoming events. You can contact us if you're interested in having an event come to your community, and you can learn how to, or find out how to support our Iowa Outreach Project with a donation. Again, I don't get paid, but we have some young staff that we need to keep them awash in pizza and gas money. So we really appreciate your support. That's it for now. BetterAngelsIowa.org. I'm Dr. Peter signing off. It's sun's about ready to go down, so you guys have a great evening. Bye.